Hey, I'm going to show how to do a very good recording and especially for setting up a recording in GarageBand, which can then, of course, be opened up in Logic, or this could also just be if you're used to using Logic, um, you can go straight to Logic. And I also want to show how you can do this using iReal Pro, which is a very handy an affordable program. It costs about $20. I think I bought it for 150 crowns. And it looks like this. This is the icon. It used to be called iReal Book, which is a takeoff on the real book for anybody that knows in jazz. That's the standard repertoire is all collected in a book called the real book. And so on the computer, it looks like this. You can enter in chords, or you can go onto forums where there's already existing chords. And I have my different playlists here: blues, Robert Burns, my own music, Bob Dylan, etc., etc. And so if we go to, I wanted to use this as an example today, All Star by Smash Mouth, nice 90s kind of pop rock, slightly hip hop-ish song. And so the first thing you want to do is find out what key you're singing the song in, if you're going to do a cover of the song, let's say. Also, I want to mention that this is also a practice app, so you can it's great for practicing solos and whatnot. And so anyway, this song goes in F sharp, which is if you're not used to playing in that key, it can be difficult. So, but like I said, it's important to find the key that you sing the song in. So what we're gonna do, I know that I want to do this song in D major. So I go to edit, and let's just say this song is in F sharp major. Now I'm gonna save, duplicate, D. Now I should be able to do this no problem. All right, I'm gonna save that. So now there's down here, there's different styles. There's pop, you get all different kinds of things. Latin, jazz, blues, I guess you have to buy. But anyway, I thought this song was closest to funk when I listened to it on Spotify. Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I think funk works pretty well with this. And it took a while. I figured out that the BPM was 104. I actually Googled that in the end. I tried to figure it out myself first, but if you Google BPM, you can usually find it. And so if we listen to our version so far, and as you can hear, iReal Pro takes liberties, with where they're gonna have fills and crashes and stuff like that, and it's pretty amazing actually. It does sound quite natural, and you can even adjust stuff in the mixer. You can increase different instruments. This is the electric guitar. We can have more or less bass and drums and whatnot. But we're not going to fuss so much with that because, like I said, the point of this is that we're going to set up a really good bass in GarageBand for making your own recording. So let's say that we're satisfied with that. We can just show what would rock sound like. Now they changed the tempo automatically for rock because apparently a lot of rock songs go at 115. I mean, you could always slow that down and see, but I thought the funk seemed promising. I think that's going to be promising for our and look, funk is at 140, so we needed to go down to 104. Okay. Okay. So now what we're going to do, let's save. Oh, we didn't change anything, so we don't have to save. We're going to share it. And how are we going to, oh yes, you have to close it first before you share. Now you can share it as a chord chart, as a PDF. You can post it to a forum, etc., etc. You can make a backup with the file, like the iReal Pro file, which is an HTML file, so you can open it up on another device. I have all my songs in my phone also. You can also share the audio. So sharing the audio, you can do it in two ways, and we're going to do it both ways actually. You can do it as a wave, which is the pure audio file. AAC is also like a wave. It's basically like the Mac version of a wave, you see. And then MIDI. Okay, so first we're going to do this as a wave. And we're going to save it onto the desktop. And a wave file is an actual audio file. So that's, I think we saved it onto the desktop just now. Let's see. Or was it in downloads? Let's see. All Star, there it is. So we can click on that. Yep, so there it is, all ready to go. And now we're also going to do an audio MIDI. In MIDI, look how quickly that went, because it's not an actual audio file. It's just pricks, just dots, digital dots. And so we're going to make a little folder here so it's easier to find. Okay. And so now we're going to go to GarageBand. And we're going to make a new project. We can close this project and make a new project. And it doesn't really matter so much. There's these different templates, but we just do empty project because it's empty. Software instrument. We're not recording any actual instruments yet, so we're just going to do software instrument. If you do start with an audio instrument, it's important to have headphones plugged in so you don't get feedback. But right now it's just digital, so I don't have any headphones plugged in right now. And I'm just going to click away a few things to make this cleaner. So I'm going to click away that, click away that, click away that. And I'm going to keep this here because if I delete that, then it's going to bring me back to the first step again. So then go to my desktop, All Star, and I'm going to import the wave, and it's going to ask me if I want to import the tempo information, and I'm going to say yes because, oh, it didn't ask me to do that. In fact, let's do this. Let's go down to 104 first because I don't want to risk anything getting messed up here. So like that. Let's see. Yeah. In these first 4 clicks, we can just get rid of. So I'm just going to go like that. because my MIDI, now I can delete this file. And let's save, of course. All star. And now I'm going to take in the MIDI. Import tempo. Yeah, I mean, I could, just because it's the same tempo. This is the first 4 clicks. Now, the thing about MIDI, you can see is all these small dots. And this comes from basically synthesized music, the original synthesized music, the kind of input. And the nice thing with MIDI is that you can change these things. We're going to choose which kind of bass we want, what kind of organ. And eventually, if you want to build up a recording with actual instruments, you can replace all these things. So we can replace the MIDI drums with real drums, or the bass, or we can combine the sound of the real bass with the MIDI bass. But one thing you'll notice is that when you import sounds, sometimes they sound really wacky because of whatever kit. Like, let's listen to this click. So it started off with like a gong or like some kind of a crash cymbal, and then it was a snare drum. So we don't even need that click in the beginning, because you'll notice when we record, you can have a count in. This is the count. That's a metronome. And since everything is perfect now in terms of tempo, we don't even need. I just find it nice to not have the sound of a metronome all the time. So now highlight those, get rid of the first measures, and let's listen to how it sounds. Oh, something is slightly off here. If I zoom in, and I can do Command and the arrow to the right, that's the zoom in. Command, arrow to the left makes it smaller. So you can see your whole project like that. Okay. Enter brings you back to the beginning. Space bar is play. Okay. So now I'm going to see. Oh, I guess I didn't drag it. I didn't get rid of enough here. Like, in fact, let me just go back a few steps. Oh, it's not letting me go back more steps. Okay. That's all right. I can get it like that. That should be correct. Sounds correct. Doesn't sound good, but it sounds correct. If we get rid of the audio file, if we do mute there, then we can just listen to this. And that organ is quite loud, so in fact we could probably just, oftentimes less is more, so we'll save that. We don't have, but the muted stuff I usually bring all the way down there. Okay, so the difference between audio and MIDI, you can see this is an actual audio file, waves. Okay, and it's harder to edit. I mean, you can edit them a lot, but it's more difficult in a way. MIDI is much more flexible, but it's not the actual sound of instrument. So anyway, what we're gonna do now, or what you could do, I don't know if I'm gonna show the whole thing right now, but you want to structure the song in the way that you want the song to go. So the song, I think, is like 2 verses and then a chorus. And so let's just see where the chorus starts. So there was our chorus. And I'm going to just splice where the chorus was. So it was right at measure 9 here. I select all, Command A, and Control T, Command T is splice. You also have that here. You can There it is, split regions at play in. Okay, and then we're just gonna listen. And there's like a double refrain, so I don't think we need a double refrain. I can't quite remember the structure of the song, but let's just keep going. I splice it there as like a kind of marker. Now we're back at to the verse. So basically that's the whole song. Verse, chorus, and chorus with the end of the chorus here. So and then of course we have a nice end here. Not necessarily the correct chord at the end, but it could be nice to keep that, and we could always edit that to make it sound correct. So theoretically, I could get rid of all of this, let's say, until the end here. Let's just see what this sounds like here. All right, and then what you could do is, if you know the next thing after the, I'm going to highlight that in copy, Command C. Then I go there, and then it's important to click on, when you highlight everything like that, click on the top one where you want it to paste, and then it's Command V for paste. So then we have verse, chorus, or maybe this is the pre-chorus, chorus, verse, and yeah, so let me show if I was just going to take one section, copy, paste, and I'm going to go back a couple of commands. Now if I wanted, watch what happens if I go like this, copy, and then I want to paste it here. But let's say for some reason I was highlighted here, it's going to get up there, and it's not even going to play, I don't think, because see, this is an audio channel. But if I drag it down here, okay, so then of course the next step would be you can go in and edit this stuff. I mean, you can move individual notes. Oops. You can make them longer, shorter. You can increase the velocity. That's basically the attack, you could say. This is velocity, so you can make a note louder or softer. Individual notes, that's to say. But we don't really need to fuss with that so much, because the whole point of what we're doing right now is we're going to make a nice kind of base for your song. And what's so important when you're gonna make a song, when you record, I mean, recording, just like obviously when you perform, you're striving for lack of a better word, for perfection. Of course, there's no such thing as perfect, but when you record, in a way, it's what you hear, what you're trying to produce. It's not the actual instrument that you're hearing. You're hearing a recording of the instrument, and it's not exactly the same thing. I mean, if you're sitting in a room with somebody and you hear the actual instrument, you're receiving the actual sound waves directly to your ear through the air. Here, we're capturing the sound or producing sounds which are almost in a way tricking the ear into hearing what should sound like the real deal. But so recording almost has to be like hyper real. That's why it's so important that recordings are very tight, especially when it comes to pop and rock music. Of course, you might have other kinds of music where you want it to sound on purpose not so tight. Like in classical music, you want to use a lot of rubato, kind of more free sounding. So another time I can show how you can actually, if I save this and close it down, Logic, if I go to Logic here, you can actually open I'm going to close this down. I'm just using the trial period right now because I couldn't find my old license. You can actually open GarageBand projects. I could open this in GarageBand. And it actually looks quite similar. I mean, this almost looks like GarageBand still, right? But there's many differences. One nice thing is markers. You can create markers. So in the beginning, we can have a marker for the verse 1. And then when we get to measure 9, you can make a marker for pre-chorus, etc., etc. And then it's easy to switch between the different sections like that with the short commandos. You can also color code everything. Bring up my color bar, and you can, even color these. I think this is the pre-chorus and whatnot. You can even color code these sections differently. And another really important tool is the mute tool, which is not, we don't have that in GarageBand. So they kind of force you can mute different sections. There's also a fade tool where at the end, maybe you want to fade you can go like this. You can even make the fade different shapes and stuff. And then there's different windows. I can have different views. So just by pressing 1 and 2, 1 usually is my overview. I can see the whole song. If I press 2, maybe I want a much more detailed view. So now I can go between 1 and 2. So anyway, now I actually did show a little bit of Logic. So I hope you learned something from this, and good luck with your projects.
Some say the grass is always greener. Some say you'll never be satisfied. But as sure as the sun shines and the wind does blow, you're the greenest grass